Yo, what's poppin', all my peeps? It is I, your host, the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back with you once again for another edition of Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And I'm not just doing it here by myself here in the Yard of Streams. I got the best of the West you can't forget about with me. Sara Marshall, what's poppin', girl?
Hey, yo.
You got something to say? How you feeling? Have the
Hello.
tongue. Yeah.
I'm just, obsessed. So
Clearly, I get it. I mean, that noise is so soothing. It really just melts your heart when you hear it.
it really does. It's how he won me over,
Yeah, the psychoness really comes out.
It wasn't from when he said hello. It was when he said yeah. He had me at yeah.
He had me yeah.
Yes. Yep. That's how our love story started.
Oh my god. That's awesome. Well, we're back. It's a Thursday show of No Nights Off. And I'm repping here. I'm gonna give an early shout out. I've been wanting to do it. I saved this shirt, Sarah. I got it on Tuesday, but I want to save it for this show so I can give a quick shout out here. We'll go down the camera. Boom. The Rogue Horseman and my dude, the Victorious One, BRG, repping that MLW merch that I got for the Rogue Horseman. Bobby Fish, part of the Rogue Horseman, is fighting for the MLW Heavyweight Championship on their next show, bringing gold, hopefully, to the Rogue Horseman.
Alrighty.
We shall see. We shall see and pray that all things go well there. David, let's hear from the peep. Was popping to you. And Sara, it's been a usual week. I think, at this point, there's no big news. It just feels like everything is kind of chaotic, right now with the shit that is being posted between the dirt sheets, between rumors and whatnot, which we're going to get into. That is the meat and potatoes of the show. But before that, let's get to the appetizer and talk about what our favorite and least favorite things were this week in my favorite segment.
Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud.
Don't be a lemon, Sara, be a rosebud. It's time for our lemons and rosebuds of the week. Sara, I'm kind of over royal rambling over here. Give me your favorite thing that you saw in wrestling this week.
So there were a lot of people that were watching Raw and taking things that were said during the broadcast and thought that it was meaning something. And that was that apparently, which I didn't even pay attention to, but the Twitter viewers were claiming that the word beast was said multiple times during Raw.
Oh.
And that somehow indicated that they were teasing the return of Brock Lesnar. So my favorite thing this week is that that's not true.
Yeah. Okay.
So, at least according to credible dirt sheets, and their sources and whatnot, there is no change with WWE's stance on using Lesnar. There are no storylines, feuds, nothing that they are actively working on that include him. And I guess it's like, that's my rosebud. I have a different lemon, but I feel like part of the lemon of this is that it's kind of wild to me that people are so quick to forget that Lesnar is involved in this lawsuit
Yeah,
with
no,
Vince. And so
her memory.
it's so odd to me that people feel so passionate against Vince, rightfully so, right? And they don't want to see him again. They don't want to hear his name. Like none of that. They're like, they're so glad he's
They're done.
gone. But then I'm not saying that, Lesnar hasn't been accused of nearly the same amount or the same things, but he is still allegedly involved in this whole thing. So why aren't we using that same energy for Lesnar? Like, why are you excusing whatever his involvement was because you want to see him versus Gunther or you want to see him versus Braun Breaker? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Like, how have we not moved past this yet?
It's wild to me that people forget about that because there are real life implications and shit going on. To me, from the wrestling perspective, obviously, when Brock Lesnar was brought back, it felt like it was the old regime trying to bring him back because they needed him. They needed to bring Brock Lesnar back because they need a star, or whatever reason you want to give. But pretty much it comes down to they needed him to come back. You would need him to put over somebody. You need him to go up against this guy to legitimize this guy. You don't need that right now. There's no need for him. We have Bronson Reed. We have Braun Strowman. I mean, it's a ha, but Otis is kind of cool right now. There's an avenue you can go with him. Like there's so many different beasts on the rosters right now that there's no need to bring back a Brock Lesnar or him himself.
Well, I also think that his last run against Cody, like that's quite a way to just hang it up. Like that's a good
awesome.
way. Like that was solid, great feud, whatever. Let's just end it there. Like if that's the last that we see of Brock Lesnar, then so be it. At least he went out on a high, and it wasn't like, oh God, we have to see this again. Like people were actually excited to see Lesnar versus Cody and like what he did after the match by like putting Cody over and stuff. So I'm like, if that's the end of what we see with Lesnar and WWE, then fine. But I feel like we've had plenty of time to accept this. And the fact that we're still trying to look for clues, it's like, no. And the beast word does not just go to Lesnar. Like when I hear that, my mind doesn't automatically go to Lesnar, but I think it's more so that people are looking for things, and so they're
looking for signs.
Yeah, so when they hear something that they can twist into being a clue, that's what we're going with. But no, I'm just glad that we're not. It's not happening. So
it's a time and place for everything. There's time and place for everything. My rosebud of the week. It's a lot. I'm gonna go with NXT again. I'm kind of using this rosebud of the week as which of the three are your favorite right now, and it's NXT, or four because AEW, it's TNA too. But out of the top five, NXT is number one, hands down. Most entertaining, eyes glued to the television programming.
You know what I find to be an interesting debate that I guess I'm curious in a way to hear yours is that, people were hyping up the debut of Julia, hyping up the debut of Stephanie Vacour. Now we're hyping up the debut of Delta. And there were people on Twitter talking about, oh, wow, WWE really hit it out of the park with the women's division and these new signings. And then the AEW tribalists are being like, haha, none of you even knew who these women were. Meanwhile, AEW has, Mercedes and they have blah, 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 whoever, right? And trying to say that like WWE didn't win the like batch of free agency. I would disagree because I don't think it matters if you are super familiar with who these signings were or their careers. For the most part, you've probably heard of them, You know, like I can't tell you I've heard of Delta because I didn't, but I had heard of Stephanie Vacour. I had heard of Julia, and I'm not claiming to be a fan, but it's kind of like anytime a wrestling company signs a big name that was in the indies or in the smaller promotions, you understand how significant it is, even if you're not familiar with their work. So to me, I'm like, I get why people who watch AEW would say AEW did better, but I don't think signing Mercedes trumps the 3 women that they just got in WWE.
And I'll take it to the men's side as well. You know, with AEW getting Okada and Will Ospreay.
Huge.
WWE gets Ethan Page as their male guy.
Motor City Machine Guns.
It hasn't happened yet.
I know, but it's coming on SmackDown.
I know. I that could be my rosebud, but here, the champ, we speak in the now. All right. I don't want to get my hopes up. I know it's pretty much slapping me across the face, or pointing at me in my face, you know, but I'll go back to my original question debate that you said. I'm going to equivocate this to sports. All right. A language that a majority of people speak. You know, when they have free agency and there's always that number one guy, it doesn't matter who, that's the number one guy. That's who everyone wants. That's where all the news is going towards. When that team signs him, it's the greatest thing ever. And all the focus on him, and all the focus comes on him throughout the season as well. All right. But does it really pan out? Yeah, maybe for the star itself, but does the team do better? You know, no. The signings that WWE are making are great team signings. You know, if someone says to you, "Oh, you don't know Julia, so you can't be excited," or you haven't seen her classic matches. No, but you're a wrestling fan on the internet. That's the next level of wrestling fandom. So you've seen her highlights. You've seen people talk about her. You know what she looks like. There's instances like that. That's all you need as a wrestling fan, is to be familiar with it. Because once you're familiar with it, that's WWE's job, is to bring that person there so that you become that person that is like, oh, well, you can't say that you're a fan of her. I've seen all her matches in WWE. They're great. Like, I've watched every night. It's like, no, but there's another level to it where you have the fan of her. Like, there's levels to all of this. And WWE played it so well by playing the quality over quantity signings.
Well, I think also, like,
especially Mercedes. God, after I can't. I'm so over her in AEW, and the Sasha Banks stink or scent, whatever you want to call it, it's kind of faded for me. Like, yeah, she was great.
Well, she's just trying to be an elevated version of Sasha Banks, which is just ironic.
I love Sasha.
It's just ironic because of how much she shit on WWE and Sasha Banks, but whatever.
It's like you can clearly tell she's not the best horsewoman.
Yes. But I think that WWE did more of like the immediate and long-term beneficial signings, instead of trying to do the flashiest of all, because it's like, yeah, Mercedes going to AEW was a huge deal, but like, with WWE, it's like Julia going was a big deal, but for American fans, it might not be considered as big of a deal as they are with Mercedes. But Julia is going to be around for a long time and is going to have a bigger like global impact on WWE than Mercedes is. So it's like what they were doing is it's I don't know. I think that they're doing better. It started with the Jade.
Yeah, the Jade Cargill signing was massive.
Yeah, and they continue to do it. So if we're talking about like free agency, WWE won.
Exactly. 1,000% did. I mean, just the signings alone that you see and how they're being utilized on programming, it's clear. There's a clear winner in all of this. Sarah, what's your lemon? What are you not feeling this week?
My lemon. Oh,
You're lag. Up there she goes. There she goes. There she goes again. What's up? What's up, Dickie? How we doing? Aaron, what's up, man? How you doing? What's up, guys? What's so nice? Happy birthday. Whose birthday? What are you, Frosty the Snowman? Whose birthday is it? Brandon Cleofat, without WWE machine, Mercedes Monet got it. Yeah, and that's what we are kind of alluding to, is that Sasha Banks and Mercedes Monet may be the same person, but they are two different people. And that's what I am basically trying to say by her not being the best. Oh, all right. Well, Sarah's gone. Let me whoop. All right. Well, she come back. We will we'll do that because I'm not doing with that wallpaper. Not doing it. Not fucking doing it. Take a breath. Yeah, she's not the best horsewoman, even though she believes that she is and should be treated and paid like the top horsewoman. I can name two that aren't, or that are better than her, and it's not Charlotte. Charlotte is not one of them. It's Bayley and Becky Lynch are the two best out of all four of them. You can clearly see it. All right. Hey guys, what's up, Nathaniel? Yeah, very much egomaniac for sure. Hey Pat, would you want to see a Copeland Jack Perry feud? Kind of. I'd be into that. I'm a fan of Edge, and I really like where I love the scapegoat Jack Perry. If you've been a fan of this show, I love the scapegoat Jack Perry bit that he's been doing, especially with the bus driving from show to show. Yeah, I'm on it. To It's so fun. It's so friggin' good. There you go. To me, Bayley is the best horsewoman, but Charlotte has the best one. Yeah, like the thing is, you say wrestler, but it's more. She's coming back, so we're putting it on. No, oh, she's back, so we are putting it on. To me, it's not. The wrestler makes the best point because it's athletic. I wouldn't say really wrestler because storytelling is involved in that term wrestler to me. And Charlotte's just the most athletic out of the four. Bayley or Becky are the best. So, all right, what were we saying before the ye old Weefy just wanted to throw you out?
Okay, so I was gonna say that I saw a quote from Jim Cornette. And he was talking about LA Knight, and I just disagree with him 100% because he was saying that LA Knight is currently in the middle of like a dumb storyline, that a pointless feud that he's like working with bums basically, and it's a waste of his time, especially as US champion. And I think that's just entirely wrong because I get that maybe you want him to have a singular feud, or maybe you want him to go against somebody that might be considered a bigger star than Mello or Andrade. But is anyone really complaining about the feud itself or the matches that we have gotten throughout this feud? Because if you are, then what are you doing? Like, how can you complain about seeing Mello and Andrade like 17 times? How can you complain about seeing either one of them against LA Knight? It is quality every single week. Like, it's funny to me because I feel like, there's probably people who also agree with Cornette, so that's why I'm even mentioning it.
We
And
could get some people. We could
yeah,
get some commenters. I'm for it.
it's just that I feel this is another example of when people pick and choose what they care about, because depending on the feud, people will be like, oh, like the storyline's great, but the matches have been awful, or vice versa. It's like the storyline is so good, or the story's so bad, but the matches are so good, and like pretending that one matters more than the other. This feels like another example of that, where it's like, okay, you're getting quality matches and you're getting a good feud between three men right now, and yet you're still complaining. Like, LA Knight is champion. That is what we have been begging for the past nearly 2 years. It took them for like a year and a half to finally do it, and now you're complaining because it's not like, who do you want him to be against on SmackDown?
Who? Like, who else? What else do you want to do right now with SmackDown?
Yes.
With LA Knight, you wanted someone to elevate the US title.
Yes.
Well, putting it on him immediately does something to it. Now you're putting him in as the third wheel, essentially. In a feud between Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, both who just want to see who the better wrestler is. Sometimes that's all you need.
And want the title. That's all they want.
Well, yeah, to get to the yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you have something like that, it only needs that competitive edge to make it interesting. And then adding LA Knight to it, where you're saying, I don't care who the fuck wins out of you two, I'm going to beat you. And that's kind of what's happened. That's another way to elevate the champion, legitimize him. He just beat two guys that are fighting for it, two hungry guys that everyone believes should be a US champ at some point on SmackDown. And he just pretty much flipped them the bird and said, no, it's my time. That is how you not only put LA Knight over in a way, but also put the US title over as well.
And Andrade and Melo. Because Melo is still a young guy on the roster that people are mostly unfamiliar with unless you were an avid NXT watcher. And Andrade's older, obviously, but
for Vince.
But he's like newer-ish in his return to WWE under Triple H, and they haven't really been using him at all. So like, this is his first big storyline since coming back. So I'm like, yeah, so they need to feature these guys on TV every week to be taken seriously and to be legitimate competitors on SmackDown for something like the US title. But it just is all working to LA Knight's benefit. So what's the problem? Like, it just feels like complaining for the sake of complaining. And
it's
I mean,
obviously it's old school thinking.
Well, and I can't fault people for all old school thinking, because a lot of the time I can catch myself feeling that way, and there are certain things where I'm like, oh, I miss the way it used to be, or like, no, that's just not how it should be. And so like, I can't fault him completely for that, but I just think that when we're talking about LA Knight, like, there's not a whole lot that you should be complaining about right now. Like, if you put his career into perspective, we should be kissing the ground that Triple H walks on right now, that he finally put him, gave him a title, finally put him in this like meaningful feud for that title. You know, it's like, to me, that's what we've been asking for. So I have nothing to complain about. If this goes on for another 6 months, sure, complain. But right now, we should be loving every second of it. You know, and this could be another featured match at Crown Jewel as well. I would love to see a triple threat. This is what I've been saying. I would love to see a triple threat for the U.S. title. That, again, only benefits all three of them, including making the U.S. title like a more coveted championship, and that's what we want. So, what are we doing?
Graves even said that if Melo was to win the U.S. title, he was bringing the spinner back. So maybe, like, who knows? In a fantasy world. Fantasy world. My lemon is okay. It is what you think it is.
Quisjelico.
However,
because he's in the main event
next week. No, it has nothing to. Oh, he better not be in the goddamn.
Isn't he in a main event or something next week?
Of Ring of Honor, sure, but I don't know. I'm catching up on Dynamite right now. Okay, I'm watching Sheldon Benjamin kick Leo Rush's ass.
Okay, I'm like, I swear I saw something that said he was going to be in the main event, but I don't know.
No. So I sent you a song today.
I know I haven't listened to it. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, you don't need to anymore.
Okay.
Okay. So a little insight to my personal life. When I'm at work, I do listen to wrestling theme songs when I'm on the floor production, because I need some sort of music to help me stay focused and hype me up and not get, in the, intrusive thoughts, whatever you want to call it. And the way Apple Music goes, for anyone who doesn't have it, is when you play a certain song, it just will play songs that are similar or ones that you would like based off this, that, and
Spotify
the
does
other.
that too. Yeah.
Okay, I don't have Spotify. So yeah, so I'm doing my work, whatever, and I hear this the beginning of a song. I'm like, okay, I'm in. All right, I'm locked in, and then I hear the guitar riff to the Learning Tree theme song, and I look, and I realized something. I had like a Jimmy Neutron brain blast moment about the Learning Tree character of Chris Jericho. And that is that the new song that's his entrance theme, where it's I am the learning. Well, we could play it at some point. That's a new song that he produced with Fozzy, or released with Fozzy. And he's making it his entrance theme. Making his entrance theme so people hear it, listen to it, and like it, look it up, and will download it, whatever. Because here's the thing, Sarah. The song fucking slaps.
Oh,
it is a good song. Like, I hate the Learning Tree, all that shit. I've said on here, whatever. But I like Fozzy's songs. Okay, if someone asked me to go to a Fozzy concert, I would not want to go front row, but I would be there because it's a concert, and it's Chris Jericho. So my lemon is that it's fucking everywhere. The Learning Tree is everywhere. It is just, I feel that I am being sucked in to the Jericho vortex at this point.
It seems like it.
That it's just so, it's so scary out there. All right, it's so scary in that vortex. I saw a couple lemons and rosebuds.
Yeah, I can't click on comments now, so
my job, double duty. But I do want to bring this up because Brendan's so right. Tony Storm, Mariah May, Willow Nightingale, and Chris Statlander are all better than Mercedes Moné.
So
I'm there.
This is the thing. So I have not hidden that I am not a Mercedes fan.
What?
So, but I think that it's okay. So I think people wouldn't be so. I don't even know what words I'm looking for, but like so critical of Mercedes as much in her run with AEW if she didn't have an attitude that matched the character that she's portraying, So I think if she had some sort of humility, if she was not so, she didn't come off so arrogant and like she's better than everybody and she's the savior of the women's division and like in women's wrestling, like if she wasn't saying those things nor behaving that way, I don't know that people would care as much. Like they might be more excited to see her in AEW or wouldn't be sick of her after only a few months. I think a lot of it is just like because she's able to be more of herself in AEW than she really ever was in WWE because, they have a totally different way of doing things over there. You're seeing more of who she is and people aren't liking it. And a lot of that is it's hard, but it's like as you get older and you're becoming more aware of how wrestling is and, who people really are when they're not on television, it does change your viewpoint of people.
Oh,
it's like,
it absolutely does.
It's like people who maybe, if they were a big fan of some sort of athlete and they were like, oh my God, I love this guy. He's so great. And then you find out that he did this really shitty thing. It's like, then it's hard for you to root for them. I think it's kind of that's what's happening with Mercedes is like people were really excited that she was coming, but then it was like,
No, it fell flat. I would
Yeah.
agree with that. Dickie says his lemon is the AEW women's division on a downswing creatively, and on the WWE side, Vinci's push uncertain after missing 3 weeks. Yeah, Sarah, what do we think about that? How you doing?
I can't speak to the women's division, but I do find it ironic because Mercedes has her own writer in there, and she was supposed to come in and like save the division, but she's not.
And they're not even fucking whatever.
Yeah. I agree with the Vinci thing. I still don't. I will never in my life ever understand why WWE will go to such lengths of making vignettes in these video packages and like hyping up someone's debut or hyping up their return and then like not following through with it. Like I just don't like you spent all this money to make those vignettes for what?
It's a long game. That's just my positive outlook.
I wish that was true.
He's on speed.
Yeah, but like that's
with
not
Sheamus.
That's not.
It's gonna bro kick him in 13 seconds.
It's unfortunate. He deserves better.
Recreate WrestleMania 28. I'll speak on the AEW women's division though, because I'm not fully agreeing with you, but putting the belt to Mariah May now and having her go up against their competition, it seems like just Japanese wrestlers. It's good and it showcases what Mariah May can do in the ring. However, they do have the best, like timeless Tony Storm, the best gimmick in wrestling right now. It is bar none the best gimmick, character, whatever you want to fucking call it, in wrestling right now. She is so captivating, so incredible when a camera is in front. She's so incredible when a camera is in front of her face, and what she's doing right now with this, I think she was in CMLL. She's down in Mexico right now. Is the best thing they got going for them. The problem is once she's gone, you don't really have a lot. And I would put Sky Blue up there. She's injured. Like Mercedes going up against Queen Aminata, and that's your women's title match on Dynamite. Why is Jamie Hayter, of all people, feuding with Saraya? Like, it's shit like that. It's just, that's why the division's on the downswing. But Mariah May, just be patient. She's going to build it back up again. It's going to happen. But it's so much on the downswing right now. You just got to embrace the suck.
I think it's like because her story with Toni Storm ended and it was the biggest story of the women's division and basically one of the biggest stories of their weekly shows anyway. Now that is,
Dunzo.
Yeah, at least for now. They didn't have another story waiting in the wings or developing at the same time, so that like once that was kind of done, they already had something else to go to, and now it's like they're floundering trying to figure out, okay, what do we do next? And obviously having 2 titles on Mercedes and having her doing stuff, whatever, it's like that's not what people want to see every single week, so they got to figure it out and do some more.
But he does have a Rosebud too. Let's go. NXT is so on a hot streak right now. That main event finish with Ethan Page stealing the victory over Javon Evans. He's also a Rosebud of mine. Javon Evans, that's a future world champion. Book it. Future world champion. The man, he's incredible in the ring. But back to all ego. That was unbelievable. I mean, the feud that they have going on right now with Julia, Stephanie Vacor, and then Roxanne and Cora now aligning, that's being done very well. If the Motor City Machine Guns do not debut tomorrow, I will burn you to get to the ground.
I don't think they would tease that and then not do it.
How bad do you think they fucked up? How badly do you think Def Rebel fucked up their intro?
I would like to believe that Def Rebel, didn't their contract expire?
No, it's on the way out.
Oh, well, maybe they didn't have to because of who they are. You know, like Cody came in with his song. He got the rights
He had
to
to
his song.
fight for it though.
No,
He had
but
to
it's
fight
possible that
for it.
these guys I would like to.
No.
I think that they've come out with a few that were actually good. Like I think Jacob Fatu's is good. I think that
I listen
Braun.
to Jacob Fatigues.
I think Braun Breaker's new one is good. Like I think that they've had
Bronze
some
is
good ones
good.
that feel like they would be more.
Andrade's.
I think some of the ones that are more rock and roll that would fit Motor City Machine Guns. It feels like they shouldn't mess that one up. You know.
Yeah, Romans is Jax. Romans is top 5 right now. Even this new one that he has, I am a big fan of that new one. So we got Final Boss here. What's popping to you? I am interested in this too. Final Boss. Excited for Mariah and Anna Jay, and she did improve. I watched a lot of clips on X, Twitter, whatever, from her run in Japan, and she has definitely upped her game. Someone said her footwork. You can go look at that. I forget which wrestler did comment on that, but the speed, you can tell like the fluidity of her moves and how she's handling herself. When you go to Japan, you learn such a different style. Being in Japan definitely helped Anna Jay to legitimize her more, to eventually, hopefully, save the women's division and become champion. What's this one? How do I feel about Lash and Jakara getting an early call up? I wouldn't say it's a call up, but exposure on SmackDown for them is really huge. They're great. Metaphor is one of those quirky little factions that together they're not powerful. You know, they're not dominating like the Shield or the Bloodline, but they are must watch whenever they're on the screen. You know, and Noam Dar was a legit champion for a little bit. They need to get time in the ring, and it's a great way to make the tag team, women's tag team titles for all 3 shows. What do you got? Do you agree?
Me? Oh yeah. Well, I told you I became like a Metaphor fan at Mania. So.
Oh yeah, because Noam Dar.
Yeah, because he was just everywhere. I'm like, he's
He was
behind me
legit everywhere.
again. Like, what is happening?
It's so funny when you see them because we saw him and then Tony D'Angelo getting a sub. Oh, that was cool. Now he's champ. Proud of Tony D, the family. Way to be. Michin, Vinny. Her music is fucking
Yeah,
sick.
she's always had good music.
Yeah. It's awesome. All right, now it's time to hop in the mobile and travel around the Wrestleverse. And Sarah, I was going to bring up a couple things, but you brought this up as a banner, and I'm happy you did because everything I've seen just seems like a whole lot of nothing, or it sounds just a lot of hoopla. Because doesn't everyone want this? It feels like it's just a matter of if AJ wants it.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I think I might be in the minority because I only want it if it makes sense. You know, I think that AJ has been gone long enough at this point that you can't just do, oh, she's a surprise Rumble entrant. You know what I mean? Because I feel like fans would kind of be upset that she wasn't around longer than just that one night. And I don't know. Sorry. I don't know if she would want to come back for like an actual storyline and feud or whatever. I mean, I feel like she could, just the way that like Trish did, you know, like I feel like that would be good. But again, I don't know if she even wants to do that. But yeah, I would only want her to come back in that capacity. Like, yeah, it would be great if she did the Rumble thing, but I feel like that wouldn't be enough for people. So I just don't want to listen to them complain about how it wasn't enough. I also don't want her to come back and do anything with Punk. I don't want to see. I hate when they do that stuff.
I was gonna ask you because that was my.
I'm not into all of
because
that.
I saw a post. Someone made a graphic of CM Punk and AJ versus Seth Rollins and Becky.
No, I mean,
I think that could be really good for a Seth Punk feud, and that's a little side quest.
But the thing is like, again, I would want it to feel organic because we just had AJ involved in the Drew Punk feud. Even if she wasn't ever there, she was mentioned almost weekly. Like, to me, if you do that now with like Seth, it just feels forced to me. Like you're trying to find an easy avenue to bring her back. You don't need to create one. She really could just come back at the Royal Rumble and then that's her way back. And then you could just do something with her during the match. That opens the door for her to come back. She doesn't have to have some sort of involvement in what Punk is doing, because that was also something that we never saw on screen as a legitimate thing. It was a storyline, but most people did not know that they were actually dating or like gonna get married, So
Yeah.
I just think that we don't always have to do that. Like, Becky didn't like anything that they did with her and Seth. So it's like, we don't have to always do this because so many of them are dating or they're married. We don't need to then see it on screen just because they're married. I just think that's weird. So if whatever they do with AJ, I just hope it makes sense. That's all.
I just want her to be skipping around the ring like she used to. Like that's a moment you need. That would be nice.
I think that the likelihood of her coming back is a lot higher now that Punk is back than if after the past decade that everyone's been begging for her to come back. She was never going to do it until Punk was okay with whatever was going on in WWE. And I'm sure she probably has her own issues, obviously. But she hasn't given anybody any sort of inkling that she wants to come back, like as a performer. So it is a waiting game. So the latest update is that WWE is just waiting for her to say okay, and I'm like, that's not an update. That's what we've been saying for years. So
that's all the wrestling community is saying is like, WWE, they're just waiting. Everyone's waiting. We're all waiting.
Yeah.
They've been doing for the past.
It's like, well, yeah, of course they're waiting for her. Like, if she was waiting to come back from WWE, they would have signed her a long time ago. They didn't even let her go to begin with. She just left. So like, it didn't have anything to do with being released. So
it was all the Punk thing.
Punk left, so AJ left. That was what it was.
I thought I saw a comment. No, the pop would be fucking epic.
Which would be really cool for a woman too, because we are, when you think about the biggest pops in like WWE history, a lot of the time it's the men, but we are at a point where I think that she could go as like, that could be one of the biggest pops of the year, or the past 5 or whatever. I think it could be like that.
That would hit in the millions on a clip on YouTube.
Yeah, especially what if it was in Chicago? She's not connected to Chicago besides her husband, but
that still would be electric. Where do I want to go next? Yeah, we talked about it already. So we mentioned Delta being rumored. I mean, we've seen the vignettes of her just walking through walking through a desert, just wreaking havoc everywhere. Why not wreak havoc at a Halloween event, Halloween Havoc, which is on Peacock, and the way the vignettes lined up, they had her demolishing people, and then she did something, and the last vignette I saw was her looking up at NXT, looking up at something. And it seems inevitable, especially with the Cora Roxanne allegiance into the Stephanie Vaccor and Julia. They could do a little thing where it's the old blood versus new blood type of
Mhm.
deal. I'm very much all in on Delta debuting at Halloween Havoc. I think I talked myself into it.
So I guess my question would be, do you think that having her debut not long after Julia and Stephanie is a good or a bad idea? Like, is it too much all at once?
No, it is not, because of the trust I have with who is writing the stories, who's writing the feuds, who's doing everything to, make her a big star. Shawn Michaels, whatever he's doing down there in NXT is working. I mean, the man is just making liquid gold every single week, and he knows how to book women's talent. I don't know what it is, but he does. I mean, the NXT women's division, it might be the best women's division out of all WWE and AEW. I won't speak on TNA, but I'll stop at AEW because it definitely is for sure. And they get the most TV time. Their feuds are
They have mid-card
equally
titles.
they have mid-card titles. They have mid-card feuds that are just about who is the best. Like everything that you see with the men, it's being done equally or better than the women on the on the main rosters of sorts. I fully trust Shawn Michaels and what he's doing with this. It makes too much sense to have her, to not have her, whatever the phrase is.
Yeah, I do find the timing interesting because the debut of Julia took a lot longer than anyone expected because
we saw her at Mania. They were teasing Mania.
Yeah, they teased her at Mania. So then obviously she had to go through what the final bookings and whatever that she had. But it took a long time. But between signing Stephanie Vacor and when she debuted really wasn't that long. And Delta's been signed for a while too, but again, I don't think it's been too long. I think they must have had this as the plan to have them all debut around at the same time, because there's no reason for them to be showing these vignettes and like teasing her debut if they weren't planning on doing it. So I just find it interesting because that is a lot of talent like that you're going to saturate the women's division with like pretty quickly. But I agree with you. Like I think I have more trust in Shawn Michaels doing the right thing and not abandoning the rest of the women's division while trying to prop up these new girls. And I say new because they're just new to NXT.
Yeah, it's new blood.
New blood I don't think that he'll abandon them in order to do that. So I'm kind of fascinated to see like how they're going to go about this, because we see that Stephanie and Julia are teaming up. It's like, okay, how's Delta going to come in? Is Delta going to come in as a heel? Is she going to go against them? Are you going to have the new blood go against new blood? Like, what are we doing? I'm very curious.
Dickie, with probably the best sentence to sum this all up, is that NXT creates talent, main roster tells the better stories.
Yeah.
Could not have said it better myself.
That's literally like what their jobs are. It feels like, like you're supposed to get the reps in and learn and whatever in NXT, and then people, they can figure out if you've got it and if you can survive on the main roster or not. And then when you go up to the main roster, they have a whole bigger creative team that is supposed to figure it out for you. So, yeah.
What do we think about this? So I saw this, and I think this is the dumbest thing ever. In what regard? I just saw a tweet. There's no article. There's no nothing.
They said it was WrestleVote said it on his like radio show or whatever.
Yeah, but why? What's the I've been selling fish all day.
I still think that with certain things you have to take WrestleVotes with a grain of salt, because he's been proven wrong on multiple things. I mean, a lot of them are, but I'm just saying, like, we don't even know who this person is because he still hides behind it just a name. So it's like, I don't know. And when he says something like this, it's like, but what's the context? Like, what like, I get that if we're gonna talk about the Judgment Day, Carlito is the forgotten member and like the least important, just because he hasn't done anything to make you think that he's a significant part of the story or of the group. But I don't know how this would happen. Like, how do you just randomly decide that he's gonna leave the Judgment Day? Like, in what capacity? For what reason? How is they gonna go about it? Like, I don't know.
The only thing I can think of, and it doesn't actually make sense because this person's in it, but did you see that interaction that Carlito had with Raquel Rodriguez when she came in?
But again, like you said, it doesn't really make any sense. If anything, have them be like an on-screen couple. Like, that would
in
be
the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
They're both in the Judgment Day.
Yeah. So it's like,
why would he leave?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
She's help. That makes no sense.
And otherwise, I mean, he was stuck in the LWO vortex. So it's like, I'd rather him be stuck in the Judgment Day one, at least for now. If they're not going to do anything else with him, at least have him be the comic relief.
Yeah, why not? We do got to talk about as it actually happens on my screen. I'm obsessed with Jon Moxley. I'm obsessed with what's going on with the Blackpool Combat Club and this hostile takeover that has been going on within the company. It's so different than what we've been seeing with these takeovers or invasion angles and, you know, the F Authority type of faction. This is where Jon Moxley absolutely deserves his flowers, because this is some shit that this is the type of storyline going on that is WWE-esque with how they're presenting it. You know, having him kick off Dynamite with the movie style monologue and the B-roll of him in the car and all that. Like, they're doing this so well because you have no idea why. You know,
at least not yet.
Yeah, exactly. Not yet. But I learned from my brother that when you're writing something or when you're trying to find the answer, you always got to find the why. And that's what's going to captivate the audience. That's what's going to have them in the palm of your hand. Is you got to tease that, and you got to get them to that why. Problem is, we don't know why yet. Like, in my mind, in all honesty, Shane McMahon is in my mind. That's how wild we're going.
Interesting.
And in other scenarios,
do you really think Shane would do that, though?
It's the only Sarah. I feel psycho for thinking this, because it's like, yeah, what that makes no like. Okay. What are you doing? But they've been meeting. You know, the Young Bucks / Elite. They took over the company already from Tony Khan. You know what I mean? And Jon Moxley saying how he hates how the company is gone in the direction. Well, what is that? What is that direction? You just beat people up and then just vent about how you hate things. Like, what is the why? So if you're going to be having these meetings with Shane McMahon, have that be the why.
I'm sorry, but I would fucking die if Moxley left WWE because of Vince and then works with a McMahon in the other company.
Oh, but it's the one who is not.
But still, it's still a McMahon. It's just like the irony is just.
And that's what makes it even more interesting.
I mean, the only thing I care about is Claudio. So
he's crushing it, Sarah.
Yeah, like, I would watch him play Uno all day, every day.
He did beat the shit out of Evil Uno.
I also would watch him play Mario Party.
That's what I do to fall asleep sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I watch the party.
Yep.
Of Claudio, Xavier Woods, Adam Cole, Bebe, and Tyler Breeze. Yeah, I'm not kidding. They're so funny.
I know, but Claudio is the best one.
I would love to do a No Nights Off the Party collab.
I know
That would be so. Imagine you just play Mario Party with Xavier Woods.
Mm,
Hopefully, he'd be nice enough. He's not really too nice right now, so you gotta back off.
yeah.
He's dealing with his own shit. Make some friends.
Not being a champion and stuff, he'd be mad at you.
I know he would be really upset with this.
Yeah.
I don't
Awkward.
want to trigger him. You know, it's the champ of the peeps. Yeah, we'll go. I'll still stick with. No, we were going in order, so let's keep it. No, I'm sticking with this. So I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Taz has been off.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Okay. Real reason.
It was Hook.
No. The real reason, like not kayfabe.
Yes.
616 reality is Taz is undergoing surgery. I think he's like getting a knee replacement or something. He's dealing personal business outside of the rest of the world, outside of the wrestleverse. They wrote him off TV by saying that he was attacked before Wrestle Dream, I'm pretty sure. It was the Dynamite. It was the 5th anniversary Dynamite that he got written off for. It was released via Hook that he has the security footage.
Oh golly.
Of who attacked Taz. Sarah, I'm in a good mood right now. I just want to throw names out from you. You throw a name out, I'll throw a couple. The peeps in the comment section better be throwing names out. Let me tell you that. Of who we believe attacked Taz. And I'll just kick it off by the man we were just talking about, but Mox. Imagine John Moxley attacked Taz.
Has he been has he criticized Moxley on commentary?
No, like
Interesting.
Loves Mox. So it's like but he's on this kick of just beating the shit out of anyone he sees that is not going how he believes the company should be going. That's one. I think Jericho is obviously the low-hanging fruit. And he's already in a program right now with Mark Briscoe, which that's getting real deep and personal. Oh man. Oh, Christian would be. There's the whole father thing. That would be a good one. I don't know. I have a feeling his sights are more set on the 8. Well, no, they're not because John Moxley has it. So it might be.
What if it was Hook?
I don't think Hook did it.
I'm joking. Golly.
I did. No. But I had that thought before he came out with any sort of.
But what if that is fake?
Like he took out his own dad. He's like, I'm sick of this.
Mm-hmm. Because his dad just kept getting involved and stuff.
Well, the FTW title, he kept holding it. It wasn't the FTW title. It was the Hook Championship.
Well,
and then he gave it back and retired it. So maybe it's like it could be. I don't know. I'm so interested to see where this goes because I have no idea, like legitimately no idea what they have cooking of who attacked him.
Final Boss thinks Hook makes the most sense. I can't click on the comment, so.
Yeah, I just that's what I thought at first before I saw this shit. And it would be very like a me Austin, it was me all along type of reveal.
I did it for The Rock.
That's just I did it for The Rock. If we don't if we don't get I did it for The Rock out of Solo for the Bloodline 2.0
or Jacob.
Oh my
I feel like Jacob would be a good one because he's always like, I love you, Solo. If he was like, I did it for The Rock.
Solo.
Yes.
Just screaming with
literally me simply because I said he was going to be the next tribal chief. So I'd be like that. I'd be like, I love you.
I can't believe you called that. To this day, I still can't believe you called that. Like, if there's any, if we need any legitimacy on this channel, it's just go back.
Yeah.
Like, go back and check this out. We're not bullshitting you. Sarah did call this
a year
well before WrestleMania 40.
Yes.
Well before that.
Mm-hmm.
And then while you're there, just hit subscribe,
Yeah.
Just hit that subscribe button because we're growing. We're growing every day. All right, I'll talk about this. because we teased it on the Raw Rewind, but we'll talk about it now. Drew McIntyre and CM Punk's Hell in a Cell match was awarded 5 stars by the Wrestling Observer, as it should be. As it fucking should be.
I think they said it was only like what, the 20th 5-star match in WWE history or something like that.
Yeah.
Something crazy. I think it was fair. And I really think that I haven't rewatched it. So like I haven't been able to reflect reflect upon it and be like, okay, was it as good as I felt like it was? You know what I mean? In the moment, because sometimes you are jaded by the moment.
Absolutely.
But I do feel like this was the epitome of what everybody wants in wrestling and what everybody wants in a wrestling match. It had a great build up, a great story to go into the match, and then like everything that they did in the match just fit everything, the vibe, the history between them, the hatred between them. Like it was, I don't want to say perfect because obviously things can't be, but like it was almost there. Because it's like you said, you know, when McIntyre brought out the bag and you thought he was going to do thumbtacks, but it was beads. It was like that type of stuff is just like not done anymore, because so many people, we've talked about it when we specifically talked about things in AEW, that they just want to do things for the shock factor. And it's like, that's not always necessary. Like you don't need to do that. It's overdone sometimes. And that very easily could have been the direction Drew decided to go in, because that's what I was expecting. I think almost everybody was. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he's really trying to make Punk bleed and like make it hurt. Exactly what he said. But the beads had such a bigger impact and was such a better idea. And so to me, it's like, yeah, even if you want to go back and say maybe the wrestling wasn't great or whatever you want to say.
Technical bullshit.
Yeah, everything that was that match made it a 5-star match, you know, like even not on the Meltzer scale. If you just want to talk about a wrestling scale,
the No Nights Off scale.
Yeah, it's that is exactly what everybody would want in a feud, and especially the presumable final chapter of a feud like that. Like it couldn't have been better. The only way it could have been better is if it was the main event. But
what did I say about this match? Like, what did I say? I said that it needed to be a bloodbath.
Mm-hmm. I know I didn't love that, but I get why it had to happen. I don't love blood and stuff, so that's why I just like it. I just isn't like ugh. But I think I said that like this was a match that felt like it was necessary, or it felt like it would make sense for it to be bloody. It would almost not make sense if it didn't get bloody.
Exactly.
Because I think there is an overuse of blood sometimes in matches where it's like you didn't need the blood to make it like a bigger match. You know what I mean? And this felt like if it didn't have blood, it would be like, oh, you know.
Sara knows all. Sara is our tribal queen.
That is right. Mrs. Solo Sokoa.
Yeah, you better teach your math. Motherfucker may be a great tribal chief, but you can't add. So
yeah, I mean, well, you know.
Let me get rid of that comment so we can move on to
save it forever. What do you mean? Make that my background.
Yeah, that should be your X header.
My header photo. Well, right now it's Scott Hall, and I haven't changed it in a long time. So it's Scott Hall after he got hit in the head with a drink, and he like fixed his hair.
Like, so cool. Dude, that's so suave. It's so suave.
It's that moment, and he's like looking to the camera, and I'm like, oh my god, my soul has left my body. Scott, thank you.
Is Kevin Owens a bad guy?
No.
Sarah.
I'm sorry.
Is he a bad guy?
No. This is what, but it's the same argument that I have for Drew McIntyre.
So. There we go. Sarah, I was thinking this. I had that like revelation hit me that KO is just, I don't want to say recycling because that has a negative connotation, but like rehashing and mimicking what Drew did when he, but for a obviously different reason and a more personal, emotional reason.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that when people were talking about, okay, like, is Kevin Owens going to turn heel? Like, when's it going to happen? Or they wanted it to happen. You kind of couldn't figure out the best way for him to do it, especially to do it against Cody Rhodes, because that is kind of risky. But like, if you're going to do it, you do it against the biggest baby face on the show. I mean, outside of Roman, but like, the way that they've done it, I think, is the best way possible, because it makes sense why KO would be frustrated beyond belief. Like, he's spent the last how many years having to deal with the bloodline. He's had to put his body in jeopardy to help Cody, multiple times against the bloodline. And then he sees Cody, the whole thing with Jay on Raw, that was messed up, and it was because of Cody. And then it's like they resolve things, and now Cody's partnering with Roman, and it's like, what the hell? So yeah, it was only a matter of time before the guy snapped. So that's the thing, is like you said, is he really the bad guy?
Is he a bad guy? I don't think he's a
Common
bad guy.
sense tells me no.
No, I'm not gonna sit here and tarnish the good name of my favorite guy, Kevin Owens. I'm just not, Sarah. Yeah, it's kind of messed up. He's going after his boy, the undisputed WWE champion, our face of the company, Cody Rhodes. However, that shit really doesn't matter at the end of the day when you do all this to help your buddy, and he just essentially smacks you in the face by teaming with your mortal enemy.
Yeah.
Like, Roman Reigns ran Kevin Owens over with a golf cart.
Yeah.
And Cody Rhodes is teaming with him.
Yeah.
Aligning himself with him. All right.
I think that's why it's like, if he just randomly decided to turn on Cody with no, backstory to it, then I think that would be a little bit different, but I do think that it doesn't really matter if there's common sense to why he did what he did, because we argued that with Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre was one of the biggest heels on Raw every single week. So it feels like that's inevitable with Kevin Owens, because he's going against Cody Rhodes. So they automatically are going to hate him because he's going against Cody Rhodes, even if they can sit there and be like, you know what? Actually, I don't blame him for being mad.
No, I don't blame him at all. I do want to talk to him about going after Randy Orton and inevitably breaking up RKO. But
that felt like almost like he was a dog that had displaced aggression. You know what I mean? When you have to deal with a dog that just is like, yeah, that's what it felt like with Kevin. It was like he was just so pumped up and mad. And he just saw someone who's Cody's friend, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to take you out too. That's kind of what it felt like. And it was like, no, puppy, no. Like, you're not actually angry.
he says a lot of pent-up aggression.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can you blame him?
I would like to see what Kevin Owens has to show us on Friday night. That's what I want to see, Sarah. All right, it's time for the 1, 2, 3 count to wrap up the show. A little throwback Thursday, because it is the Thursday show. Yeah, I wasn't. We have a game in our next pin, so I want to just like jog the memory right now, get the juices flowing for our favorite 2000s jobbers or mid-carders. Obviously these, for anyone, the jobbers and mid-carders, you're not watching them because you believe they're going to be WWE champion. All right, but you are entertained by them anytime they step into the ring or appear on your screen. And there are some crazy jobbers, wrestlers of that time, thanks to Cultaholic and Cultaholic and their lists and stuff. You get to go down memory lane of like the wrestlers you forgot about in the early 2000s, and holy shit, the names that pop up, like Paul Burchill. Do you remember him?
Mm-hmm.
My favorite, not even Loki really, but one of my favorite wrestlers ever is Simon Dean. I loved him. I hated to love him. Like when he would come out on the is it not Unisync? Oh my god, Segway. came out on the
Mhm.
Segway with the gym bag, and then his Rumble appearance when I forget who was in the ring with him, but he gets into the ring, puts on like a weight belt, does like calisthenics, like warming up as he's in the ring, and then just gets yeeted over the top rope. Like, oh, like he was so fucking funny.
I don't know if I like. I mean, I would say for mid-carders, I love Too Cool, like
Too
Grandmaster.
Cool is awesome.
Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty Too Hottie. They were just always fun. You knew neither of them were ever going to be anything beyond a tag team, but like I didn't care, like they were so fun all the time. But I don't know that I really like when I was younger, younger, like I cared about like the top people, like Jeff Hardy and whatever, like those were my guys. So I don't know that I really had a favorite jobber.
Yeah, like when because I mean, obviously the favorite of all time, The Rock and Cena and all that. So that's where your mind goes.
Yes.
But there's just some wrestlers that throughout your time of being a wrestling fan, they were a perennial mid-carder, but you got overly way more excited for them coming out than the person standing or sitting next to you.
I have to say that I'm embarrassed to admit how long it took me to figure out who B Squared was.
Oh, that is tough.
When I was younger, I knew
He's an OG.
I knew Bull Buchanan, but I did not put it together that he was B Squared. And I felt like such an idiot when I finally figured it out. I'm like, how did I not know? I have WWF No Mercy on Nintendo 64. Bull Buchanan is in there in the Right to Censor. How did I not know?
Like, that's a good example, like great example, like Right to Censor.
Mm-hmm.
Like that group, I wouldn't call it my favorites. They sucked, but yeah, they were lemon.
It was more so their booking. Like they should have been huge because of the era that they were in. Like it was the perfect time for them to come in and be like, no, like you can't say that and women shouldn't be doing this and whatever. Like it couldn't have been a better time for them to do that, and it just didn't. They didn't do it right.
The music. To me, the music, their entrance.
Oh, I know.
Was so awful.
And you never knew who was coming out.
Oh, it was awful. So fucking terrible. Yeah, him. Another one that comes to mind. It wasn't my favorite, but just someone that comes to mind was Rene Dupree.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love beating him up in video games. He was always someone I was have to fight against in like career mode or something. 20 questions this week. A little random, but TNA tag teams all time to Sarah. All time.
I'm gonna be so bad. I don't have one, so I'll just guess yours. But
okay, I'm gonna try to give you a relatively easy one.
I'm gonna be so bad.
All right, I'll give you the first question. We'll do like a bingo free space. I'm going to give you a tag team in the time frame of 2006 to like 2012.
Okay. Is it Motor City Machine Guns?
It is not. I knew you were going to say that. That was one of the ones I was like wanting to pick. I was like, she's going to answer that immediately. No.
Okay, so it's men though.
It is men.
Okay. Did they become tag team champions?
They were tag team champions.
Were they former WWE stars?
They are not former WWE stars.
Okay. How many questions is that? 3, 4?
3.
Did they eventually go to WWE?
No.
Really? Okay. That eliminates a few people that I know. Okay, I'm trying to think. Because the ones I'm thinking of all have people who went to WWE.
It's like this one is the more popular. Like, you would know who they are.
Okay. Did they? Were they mostly known for being heels or baby faces?
Heels.
Okay. Ooh.
You got it. Ooh.
Do they have long hair?
Bald.
Both of them are bald?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Um,
You tap out?
no. I haven't even gotten to 20. Why would I tap out?
I don't know. I don't know what your mind is.
No, I know one.
No one in the chat has said it because no one's really answered. They're stomping people. No one's even asking questions in the chat to help you. It's so rude.
Okay. Okay, did they have a tag team name?
Yes.
Damn it. Is that how I have to guess?
It would be to help you out, it would be easier. I think it would be easier.
It's just I know of one bald person. I just don't know
who's the bald person. Use a question.
Christopher Daniels.
No.
Dang it.
Oh, that would have been a good one. I didn't think of that tag team, but no.
Who was bald? That's the thing that's not standing out to me.
It's not the Bullet Club.
Okay. Okay, I'm probably just gonna give up because I don't want to like sit here.
It was LAX.
Oh, I never would have guessed that.
Their entrance was sick. Fucking sick.
I never would have guessed that.
And 3 to wrap it up. No nonsense today because you're still doing the brutality thing and I'm keeping away. I'm just keeping away from you. Figure out my own shit. But oh shit, I thought I sent this to you. What the fuck? No, I'm trying to get the list up before I introduce it because I did send it to you. I know I did. And where is it? I guess I didn't. Thought I did, but what the hell? All right, what's the banner so I can look it up? All right, yeah. All right, so let me just PW. Okay, I don't know why that's not working. The PWI Pro Wrestling Observer Inquirer, whatever it is, women's top 250 wrestlers for 2024 were announced. And Sarah, do you know who number 1 was?
I do, and now I forget.
Give you a hint. It was not a WWE wrestler.
Oh, it was Toni Storm. Yeah.
It was Toni Storm. Toni Storm was announced as the number 1 women's wrestler according to PWI. The top 10, I'm not going to go through the whole list, but the top 10 were Toni Storm, Jordynne Grace, Rhea Ripley, Maka. Why does it only say the Twitter handles for the list? That is so annoying. Why is it? Oh, this just killed the vibe. You killed the vibe. Micah, Stephanie Vakor was 5. Sari of Japan was 6. Bailey was 7. Willow Nightingale was 8. Mariah May at 9. And Athena at 10. I agree with 90% of that list. And only 90 because I have no idea who the 4th person is. Maka. I'm not familiar with her work. I'm sorry. Liv Morgan was 11. But yeah, Toni Storm at 1. I've been on record multiple times on this show saying that Toni Storm is the best women's wrestler in the world right now, from top to bottom, character, in-ring work, whatever. I agree with the list of Toni Storm. I wish, I want to see her continue this timeless stuff for a little bit longer. after when she comes back. Don't just end it because Mariah May, the feud with her, ended. They keep it going. It's so entertaining.
Yeah.
It makes you want to watch. And you're Tony Storm. You've been all over the world. You're legitimate. All right. You have the ability now to help build this division so that you, Jamie Hayter, Sky Blue when she returns. I don't know why Athena's on Ring of Honor, but Athena, Mariah May, Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander needs to fucking get over. She's so good. Her feud with Willow was awesome. Like, put a belt on her. Have her compete for the world women's title. I don't know. I'm just that's my rant. So
I don't have a lot of strong feelings about it, so
yeah, I figured, but I wanted to get that out because it is an AEW women's wrestler who is the number one women's wrestler in the world, but their division is the weakest. So what does that tell you, Sarah? It's all about the team. That's what it says. It's all about the team. All right. And that's a lesson I will leave you all with as we wrap up the show here. Thank you guys for tuning in to this edition of No Nights Off. Super Show will be back on Saturday. That's right. 7:00. We're going to be live. All right. Thank God, Sarah. All right. There's nothing I want to do more than just sit here and talk wrestling on a Saturday night. All right. The champ. Sometimes you got to be the champ. When you are the champ, you got to be amongst the peeps. And you got to socialize. You got to do all that great stuff. But at the end of the day, you got to be real and come down here and hang with the real peeps in the artist streams and talk the greatest form of art that God has ever given us. So, yeah, with that, go follow us on all the social medias down below in the link in the description because we have a lot of them. All right. So go check those out. Go check us out on TikTok. Grow that channel. And then, yeah, we'll see you guys on Saturday. Thank you for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. Yes.